So in this video, I had the pleasure of bringing in my girlfriend, partner, best friend, and producer of this page, Jasmine, and we discuss intimacy in our relationship, particularly since the pandemic has started. And it's such a joy for me to be able to bring her on camera with me because really she's been behind this page since day one. She's behind the camera, she edits videos, and does so much more. So I'm so glad that you guys will get to meet her in this video. Enjoy. So yeah, how does it feel to be in front of the camera with me?
Super weird.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I figured, but I'm really glad to have you here, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to just chat and let people into our relationship a bit. So my first question for you is, what does intimacy look like in our relationship for you?
For me, it looks like closeness, which during quarantine we've had plenty of that.
Plenty of that.
Sometimes too much of that. But I think for us, it's about more than just physical intimacy. It's about emotional intimacy, spiritual intimacy, mental intimacy, all of that. I feel like we've gotten so close over the last 3.5 years. I feel like, especially over the last 6 months of being in quarantine together, it's been nonstop, just like getting to know each other on like a different level. And like with each new level, it's just more and more intimacy.
I totally agree. So, okay, you're talking about like us getting to know each other on a deeper level. So lately she's been like, she knows all this stuff about how I am throughout the workday, which she would have never been able to learn like if it wasn't for the pandemic. So talk about that a bit, like how you notice my ups and downs.
So during the day, she kind of bops around. She's having a good day, enjoying the work that she's doing, having good classes, all of that. It's mostly like, she'll be smiling, she'll look over at me, she'll look out the window. It's very bubbly. And if she's not having a good day, there's no emotions. It's pretty muted. There's no bopping around. She's not drinking her tea, doing her thing. It's just like she's sitting there doing her work, and that's it.
Yeah, I think that's funny because I don't think I would have ever really thought about that like myself. But I mean, that's what this pandemic has looked like for us. So rewinding a bit to the beginning of the pandemic, I think that transitioning into this time of being together 24/7 and also sidebar, when the pandemic started, we were like living in a studio together. I moved into
tiny studio. Yeah,
I moved into her tiny studio with her and it just wasn't enough space. We weren't expecting it to be enough space for the two of us. So that was like the situation that we were in, and not only that, but the window of that studio, our view was just another brick wall, like the side of a building. So this is like this situation. This is the scene. So tell me about kind of just like our transition into the pandemic, into quarantining together and everything.
Once we were officially in the space together, the studio is essentially like one room. So we're just sharing this one room together. We're eating, we're sleeping, we're doing our work, all of this in the same room together. And at first, it's a little bit too much. We had our arguments, we had our tiffs until, we had to settle into it, communicate better, because we weren't used to spending so much time around each other. We weren't used to seeing all of the little quirks that we had. We weren't used to, not having any of our like own space outside, doing whatever we wanted with our friends, stuff like that at work. So with no separation, no boundaries, we had to kind of just, figure out what intimacy looked like for us within these four walls. I think we figured it out pretty quick, within like the first month. I think we upped our communication levels. I think that we were honest with each other all the time. I think that we were very intentional about all the time that we spent together because we knew that we were going to be in this together, until the end of this pandemic, which we're still in it. So
still in it.
I think that as quarantine has progressed, I've seen like different levels to our intimacy. I think moving into this new apartment, the 1-bedroom, has been extremely good for us because it's allowed us to have like our own personal space. Somebody's in the bedroom watching TV, on the phone, doing their own thing. We don't always have to be like on top of each other. And I think just having that little bit of space to, want each other, to want to be around each other, to want to cuddle, to want to talk constantly. I think that having a little bit more space has really helped us as quarantine has gone along. And I mean, also like, I feel like I know you as if we've been together for a lot longer than 3.5 years. So it has been 3.5 years. Okay, so something you were saying is kind of like about separation helping us be closer. Yeah. So talk more about that, because something that we talk a lot about is individuality and like creating space for individuality in our relationship. So talk about like why that's important to you and why you feel like that's positively impacted us. So for me, I am an introvert. I kind of like to be in my own space sometimes, just to retreat, recharge, whether that's listening to music or reading a book or having a nice long shower, things like that. And I think that just like having that space to regroup sometimes before coming back into our quarantine bubble is a little bit nice, especially with the new apartment that we're in. I also think that like having the space to want each other a little bit more, whether that's like, you know, we're doing our own thing for the day, or like you go to visit home, I visit home, or I'm at work during the day, just like having that time to be like, I miss you, you know, because it's kind of hard to have that want during quarantine when you're constantly together. So I think that having that time to just like do our own thing, visit our families, do whatever we need to do, and then regroup together it's been good for me.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And this is something like we've always prioritized, but lately as I've been doing like more reading for this page and for grad school and just in general, I've come to realize like this is actually a very important thing, and particularly this relationship expert, Esther Perel, whose book I'm reading now talks all about this. Like the way to create desire is to have space for individuality, to have some separation, which has been really hard during the pandemic, but I think that we've done a pretty good job at doing that to a certain degree. And I think another way that like creating space for individuality for us shows up is like professionally. We are very interested in like very different things. So as you all know, I'm into all this like relationship, intimacy stuff. I'm into social sciences. I'm into like theoretical approaches to understanding the world. And she wants to be an engineer. So
currently working in neuroscience research, so nothing's the same here.
Yeah, so there's a lot of differences with like what we're interested in and what we spend our days doing. And I think that we've done a good job at like giving each other the space to like be nerds about our respective areas, but also like respect those different areas and like showing genuine interest in the other person's like area.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think another way that individuality shows up for us is in our friendships as well. So we've always prioritized friendships from the beginning, and obviously there are times when like it didn't go perfectly in terms of how much we felt like we were prioritizing each other, how much our friends felt like we were prioritizing them. But in general, it's always been something that we've been thinking about. And I think it served us well. Like, I mean, first of all, like we have bomb friends, and I hope to have some of them on the page at some point. But it just again creates this space like for us to go and have and just experience ourselves, experience the world independently of each other, and then come back and have stories and things like that.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been able to do that during quarantine as well. You know, like I had my happy hour every weekend. She does her wine night with her friends. Or when it was warmer outside, we were going like to the park and doing social distance gatherings, stuff like that. So I think that having that during the pandemic has also been great for us.
Yeah. Okay, wait, so zooming out for a bit. So obviously we're two Black women in a relationship together. So what do you think that's like afforded us, or what challenges do you feel like that's given us? And of course, I'll give a disclaimer, like we can't speak for everyone. We've never experienced, you know, other types of, we haven't experienced other types of relationship styles that we can compare. So we're just speaking from our own perspectives about this.
I mean, there's the very clear external challenges that all Black women face. But as far as being in this relationship, I think that being with another Black woman has been amazing, because like not only like loving a Black woman, but like being loved by a Black woman is just very validating. And there's just like so many experiences that we can relate on. Like we understand each other on like all different levels because of that. Like, you know, when she goes out into the world, like I understand what it's like to be seen as a Black woman, not just as like who you are. So I feel like that also being two Black queer women is just another level of connection there.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I have a ton more to add to what you said, but I think that it's kind of created like an understanding that like we didn't really have to explain from the beginning.
Yeah.
With hair, which is like kind of a simple matter, but also not that simple when it comes to Black women.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it just made it just that much easier for us to feel closer and to feel like on the same page. But I also think like I want to flag that like it's not like we're the same person.
Not at all.
Right? So we still have had to like connect and communicate along lines of difference She talked about how she's an introvert.
Yeah.
I'm not really. I think I've leaned more into that side of myself within the past year. She might disagree with that. But I mean, in general, I'm more extroverted. So there's that line of difference we have to come across. There's some other like identity differences we have to come across. So it's not just like we're relating as the same person.
So I have a question for you, actually.
Okay.
Do you think that you've been able to notice a difference in the intimacy that you see in our relationships versus like your friends' relationships or previous relationships that you had or that you see online? Do you feel like we are doing a good job at intimacy? Do you feel like we're doing it right?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because I don't like love doing the comparison game because I think intimacy looks different for everyone. I think
what I meant more so is like, you study intimacy. So do you feel like we are a good example of what intimacy looks like? What healthy relationships look like? What different levels of intimacy look like? Things like that.
Yeah.
Not right or wrong, because there's not really a wrong for intimacy.
Yeah. If you're doing it healthily. So, I think we are a good example, I guess. I mean, I do study it, and I study it to try to help other people out, but of course, you know, I'm taking this knowledge in for us and trying to make us better too. So I think that I try to use what I'm learning to give to other people in terms of knowledge to elevate our relationship as well. So I do think we have very healthy communication. I think we've prioritized that since day one. Now that doesn't mean we were doing a great job at it since day one, but I do think it was always a priority. And I think we're at a point in our relationship where it's kind of a given. I don't think that communication is a huge struggle. But what I want to say is that like we definitely have those foundational things down, as I hope most people do. Because I think that that's kind of like the bare minimum you should have in a relationship that's a good relationship. But I think what makes a relationship great is some of these other things of like having fun, of approaching challenges in innovative ways, constantly trying to grow as individuals and with each other, growing towards each other, like supporting each other in our goals, looking for ways to just like connect differently, or like slow dancing with each other, cooking new recipes from scratch with each other, going for long walks and talking about God knows what for 2 hours. Like I think it's that type of stuff that really makes a relationship from just good to great. And I think we have that. I mean,
agree.
We've been together for 3.5 years, which is not forever, but I mean, it's definitely some time. And we've also been together, I think, through a period of time where we've both undergone an insane amount of growth. So in some ways it feels a bit longer because of that. We've like kind of been through a fair amount together. And like there's a reason for that. Like we're not together just because, well, we've been together, so let's stay together. We're together because I genuinely think that we choose each other every day, which I think is like an amorphous idea. But I genuinely feel like it's an accurate description of what we have and what we're doing. But what does that like mean to you? Like choosing me, choosing this relationship every day?
Choosing you every day. It means that like when I wake up every day, like I want to spend this day with you. I want to attack the world with you. Like I want to go through everything I'm going to go through that day or that year, whatever, with you. Like there's nobody that I want to wake up to more than I want to wake up to you. It's like, I don't think that we enter this relationship under like a contract of like, okay, we're going to be here for life, that we're just going to sign our lives away. I think it's like a choice that we make every day to still want to love each other, be there for each other, all of those things. I feel like it's constantly like I want to be with you. It's very reassuring.
Yeah, I feel the same. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more question to end the video on, which is, what is your favorite thing about this relationship or about me? Okay. One thing. Now, maybe you have a ton of favorite things, but just choose one thing that you want to end this video with saying.
Favorite thing about you. I think the favorite thing about you is that you just want to know things. You just want to get inside my head, you want to explore the way I feel, explore the way you feel. You want to just understand how we can make this relationship better. And I feel like I really love that about you.
Oh. Well, I love that you love that about me, because for some people they would find that annoying.
What is it about me?
Yes, so many things. But I would say I just think that you are so intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that you make decisions in our relationship, in your personal life, without thinking it through.
Mm-hmm.
I think your decisions are grounded in this really developed sense of self that you have. And honestly, I think in general, the fact that you approach things in that way is inspiring to me. It encourages me to slow down, for me to think about why I do the things that I do, because I can move so fast and just kind of get caught up in things. So that's one thing. But I think in general, in many more ways than one, you inspire me to keep growing and developing. And I think that's one of the things that's most energizing about being with you. Like, even if we're having, you know, a bit of a rough patch or something, like, you continue to inspire me. So I'll say that, even though there's so many things I could say.
I love that.
All right, this was a fun video.
Yeah.
I love you, babe.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Jasmine and I had so much fun filming this for you all, and I hope that you enjoyed it and got something out of it as well. So as always, we want to hear from you. Comment down below what makes a good relationship for you, or what makes a great relationship for you. That's all we have for you today. I'll be sure to see you next week.